Now then, and welcome back to another episode of Cobblenauts. Forever Stranded Lost Souls, here I am, standing in front of the makeshift storage warehouse type thing that we've currently got. Everything's been dumped here, and it's been moved and rearranged a few times since me, Valen, and Ector built it. Well, I say me, Valen, and Ector built it. It was Kashkar that came up with the idea to use the storage drawers. Valen and Ector then built it, but I helped clear the area out and decide where the area was going to be and all that kind of stuff, because I was building the dome at the time. But now, here we are. Right, I'm going to do a quick swizz round like this, because I'm still kind of avoiding showing you what's behind me in the centre of the dome now that Pixel Riffs has done. So, here we go anyway. I intended, and I always planned, to put a warehouse with all these storage drawers in an area just off the dome. So just behind the dome, just off the dome. Similar to how I did my cloning facility, my barracks. I was going to do a warehouse. And I would still have these kind of storage scanners accessible through the place, through everywhere. These storage scanners here, and the little half slab ones that fit on the side of the wall, like the one that I've got in the clone area, that is all available still. It's just we need somewhere to like dump stuff and start clearing out some of the bits and pieces that we've got lying around inside the dome, have them in more organised places. And so on the main map you can see that the barracks is off that way. We've got a bit of a farm area this way, so I'm probably going to do something over the farm. And then over this side, we can store quite a lot of stuffs in quite a large barracks area. Now, the consideration I've got is these drawer controllers. I'm going to do everything in storage drawers. I'm going to make it look like a cool warehouse. But the controller only has a 12-block range. So every block that it's connected to within 12 blocks forms a small mini network. So there's also controller slaves and things like that to add in, where we've got like a controller slave over here, which adds in the ability to access the controller from over this side. Still part of the network, still within 12 blocks of it, and everything else, of course. But the main important thing, really, is the storage scanner scans so many block radius, so up to 20 blocks away. So long as I have a drawer controller within 20 blocks of this storage scanner, the storage scanner can pick up that and have access to everything in its inventory. All the inventories in all the drawers are accessible through this, right? So everything. What do we got? How much glowstone? 1,580 glowstone. Let's type in glowstone, and you can see we've got 4,736 in here, because somewhere along the line, a load of glowstone's been put into one of these and not exported into the controller here. So yeah, we've got lots and lots of access easily sorted out with a storage scanner, and that is what System Clap sorted out, the storage scanning system, and very useful. Ectovic's compacting drawers have now been brought over here, and System's compact machine is now here that sieves all the stuff and carries on producing all of these metal ingots and stuff and things that get put into the system very quickly. Well, today I'm going to focus on moving the storage controller, or making new storage drawer controllers, and moving all the storage drawers into a warehouse behind the wall. And then having an access point where all of these storage scanners and things can be reconnected behind there at a later date. So we'll have one big storage and then lots of panels to access. Now the first thing I need to figure out is the size of it, right? And it's quite a large area we've got above here, with an overhang around here. So I've got quite a bit of space out from there, out to here. Quite a bit of space in that direction. It seems to drop off here though, so I would need to kind of fortify at an edge. Just feel a bit like I could maybe fortify underneath this lip. Maybe even get rid of this lip altogether and just delete all of this netherrack. just kill it off. Just kill all this netherrack off, instead of hiding it underneath there, actually having a warehouse build underneath here. Somebody's already put a glass frame here to stop gas from fireballing us from this side. That's another consideration, is gas spawns. They spawn in areas that are 4 high, so we're going to have to make sure that there's no space for gas to spawn, which in a warehouse, I suppose that's not going to be too difficult. And also considering the floor level. The floor level is currently here. This is the floor level, so I go up from this block, and that also allows 1 block of space between the floor block and the roof block of the mob farm. So the roof block of the mob farm, then I can pipe things between the mob farm roof and the floor of the warehouse easy enough as well. So we've got good options in this area. This was the kind of the area that we were going to use, and it still is. So I'm going to do a little bit of layout planning. I think I'm probably going to use nether brick as a base still for the base block, and then maybe add some cool feature blocks in and around, like black concrete, or maybe factory block stuff in around to make the floor design. But first of all, I need to work out a little bit of a floor plan. So, I've been fact-checking. I've been messing around. It says with storage drawers that 12 blocks from the controller in all directions, it can capture a place, right? So we've already discussed that they've got the mob farm just below us, so we can't go down any further. And I was looking to see how high I could go, and it looks like we break through here, and then we're at the top of the dome. And so we don't want to go much beyond the top of the dome, because that would make the dome seem less, well, it would just seem less, wouldn't it? Less interesting. So we've got to keep it below the colour of Netherrack. And I'll just check in kind of where, because if it's 12 blocks in all directions, is that all directions, including up and down? Because I was thinking of a big 24 by 24 by 24 cube, or 25 by 25 by 25 cube. That's what I was thinking, but that would be far too big. That's about 12 there. And the easy way to check it is by right-clicking with the key to lock all connected inventories. So as you can see, all connected inventories along here I've got locked on. All the connected inventories out here I've got locked on, all the way out to here, which is block number 12 away. And all the way along here, and I believe, yep, the 13th block has not been connected. Same over here. The 13th block should not be connected, yeah. And then all the way up, we've got all the way up, probably the 12th block, 13th block, yeah. So there's the 12th block away from where I've currently got it, and there's 2 blocks ahead of it there. So that's showing me exactly how the dimensions can be if I had a single control thing right in the middle here. Right? If I just have this right in the middle, then I've got it all covered, haven't I? That's the idea anyway. There's an invisible stalker. An invisible thing killing me. I must stop it at all costs. But I don't know where it is. Oh, it's behind me. Got it. Whatever it was. Whatever it was invisible, and I got it. It gave me one of these farmland seeds and that. But the only way I could get it was by shooting it with insta-death. Insta-death, arrows of doom. But yeah, okay, it was invisible, and I don't know if that's something to do with Optifine, because I changed up to have Optifine in today's episode to have a look. I'm currently running majority of the time at the recording rate of 30 frames per second, which is just right. So yeah, anyway, this is the setup. This is the size and scale of it. I've got to bring it down a little bit because I don't want to go too much higher than the dome, but I've got a lot of clearing out to do and a lot of laying floor. I want to make sure the floor is solid, and then in all of the areas we're going to have connecting blocks to all of the different setups through the one level of netherrack that separates the floor of this with the ceiling of that, and that should connect the whole warehouse in whatever design I choose from then on. Alrighty, so I've dug it all out, I've planned it all out, and I've made it all good. Well, almost all. I'm now up to the point where I've got this same level here. And this level here matches in with this balcony that Pixel Rift put in along here. I'll just give you a clue of what's going on over there, haven't I? Well, a brief glance. And it also then links all the way around here, which I wanted a way around the outside of the dome. Potentially that you could cover over with a few blocks just to cover over. over your head, just so people could run around here without too much fear. And then airlocks on each of these edges, so you could come in from the top and look down and that sort of thing, and maybe go into the top of this section from here as well. I'm not 100% sure if that's what I want to do yet though, but I'm pretty sure that that's a good idea for now. I just don't know how high this should be. Kind of okay with that. That's a fair height. There's a fair height from the inside for definite. That's pretty big, and it's not bigger than the dome, so that's pretty good. It's got plenty of size for warehouse and stores, and I could probably do a flat roof on it now, just to put a flat roof over it, which would be then in keeping with this height here, so that you could walk out and go through a door set, or maybe up a ladder onto the roof, and maybe the roof produces something. So I think that's going to be the plan. All of these blocks were within the range, and as you can see down below, we've basically just got a cross. If we're outside of the hazard markings, then we're outside of the range. So we've got to be inside those little plots. So there's 4 quarters of the place. 4 quarters. And if those 4 quarters even have like a similar theme, then we should end up with good looking place, and other people can put some extra automation bits in and all that kind of stuff, but it should look good at the same time. So we'll start the main thing with having this right in the center here, and then we should have that facing this way, so when people come in they can just access the controller. The controller can have a couple of other blocks around it, and we will end up with this bit going into the ground. So we'll go down a section there and one more, and then we'll bring it up and connect it to the blocks along the rows and put a roof on. So connecting it to the blocks, we've got to maximize the amount we can do. Okay, so this is just an ideal. If we had, oh wait a minute, an ideal. If we had this storing along this way, all the way down a section, and to here, those storage drawers would all be in. How many would we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. So then we would have to like mix it up a little bit with a space in between, so that people could walk through the warehouse and have groups like this. So groups of 4 maybe, and then on this side a group of 4, and then maybe on the other side a group of 4. Then you got a double there, and then we'd have a group of 4 this way, and then another group of 4. Oh, we'd only have 1 there. Okay, so nearly got the idea of how I want to set it up. It's setting up in rows. Now these rows, I suppose these rows can only need to be 1 wide. They don't need to be 2 wide, as we don't really need the 2 wide. We do need to have that there. We can have that there. Should give a 1 wide. Just as long as they're all connected, you can see them. It's not going to look great, but at least it's going to be looking better than it is at the minute. And then we get another one on the end here, and another one there. And then we're basically doing the same thing here. That's good. Yeah, this might actually work. It's not giving a lot of space, but it is making the warehouse feel compact. And that, as one thing or other, is not too bad. So all the actual blocks will get stored down actual rows, and all of the other things will get stored around. And we've got faces, like we could face this section and build in a little structure. And if it's a 4 wide area, then people could build a little structure inside a chest, a few drawers like this, and build a little setup inside that automatically produces items into the storage, and then the storage is accessible through this lot. That's the plan anyway. A few small workstations like this. I think it's probably going to take a little bit more than this. This could be the initial layout, but it's going to take a little bit more. Like there's 16s, so blocks of 16. So you have 16 wall types, you have 16 colours of dye and all the like. So 16 would be 4 by 4, wouldn't it? Which would be quite a nice little size. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 high, leaving a fair gap above for some kind of lighting to be happening. And we do need some lighting in here. It's very dull. And I do need to put a roof on. So let's start with that. Right, well, I'm starting to come up with ideas for lighting the place. I don't think there's any real lamps that I could use in the same way as these kind of strip lights. And then we have a lot of these wooden axles available as well. So I've just figured that it would be a cool thing to do. There's the... Placing the blocks is a bit difficult though. Having it so that we've got the right spacing between everything, also very difficult. So like there we would go, this block would be that, and we'll come out this way. And how far did I come? Did I go one farther this time? I went one too far again. There we go, look, yep. And then a bit further down, 2 blocks away, which would be in keeping with the lines of the borders, well, the lines of the blocks here. So in between the rows of shelves as such, we would have that. Now, of course, the shelves don't have to be there all the way through. They don't have to be exactly the same all the way through. It's just helpful to know where your spacing is when you're initially setting things up. And then it doesn't really matter after that, does it? It's not really a big deal. And then these wooden axles just kind of look like they're going to be holding it up in the ceiling. Now, I may come up with another suggestion. Somebody else from the Cobblenauts may come up with another suggestion. But this is good enough for now. And this is our Nether HQ and Nether warehouse. So it's not really that big an issue. Where am I going to put this one, though? That is the issue. That one there, and that one go there, which leaves 3 gap down either side. I suppose that we'll have to do. It's kind of keeping these in line with the others. That's a better thing than nothing. Like so, yeah. And just see how that ends up looking. It's going to be a 3 wide gap in the middle. That's not going to be too bad. Yeah, that looks too bad. I might make this side a little bit shorter. I might do something else down the middle. We shall see. We shall see. Okay. That definitely feels like the kind of mood lighting you'd get in a warehouse. Not too bright, not too dark. Just enough to walk into the warehouse and go and fetch your stuff. Walk straight to the centre. There's going to be all sorts of boxes and crates and all sorts lying around in a minute. It's going to get looking very packed, but right up there at the ceiling. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Right up there at the ceiling. Still above all the blocks. The light source is going to shine down into each of the aisles. Next up then, we've got to connect this central block to all of the sections. All of the sections. So what we're going to need to do is come out from each section like so. I can't go down, but I can go across. And I think I'll go this way. And across this way. And then into this corner. So we're going to end up cutting through like this on each one. So I may as well do the same on this side, and like this. And just have this run here. Yep. And then go this way on these and go into there. And then the trims should be able to fit nicely down through these gaps. So the oak trim, which is very simple to make, the oak trim just connects to these things just to make it all connect. And then we can bring it all the way across like so. And then up into that section there, because that's where the first bin's going to be. And then up into that section there, first bin. And then so on, all the way around, so that everything is connected up to those first couple of blocks. And then I can basically put all this back. Put it all back straight, cover over, and no one will ever know the secret to how we did it. And then this can all get covered up as well. I think that was all touching properly. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that was down to there, which was down to there. This is all good. All good so far. So, every single connecting block is touching. And that now goes from the central controller into these bits here. Now, of course, we want to stagger these like we were saying here. So we're going to have a second one here. A second oak trim there. But then we've got to leap across the edge and go into this one. And leap across and go to this one. And leap across and go to that one. So we need some more underfloor oak trims. Now, I think, as it's so cheap to make these, that I might just hobble out this whole section Right, hobble it all out. I don't think I can do it with... No, I can't do it with a vein miner for some reason. Hobble it all out and just put a layer of oak trim underneath. So wherever somebody puts a hole, they can just put a piece of oak trim and it'll be connected to the system. And people can change it as they need it in the warehouse then, instead of it always being exactly the same. And these stacks of crates is another thing. I don't necessarily want to make it so that it's all set and bothered, or maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe having a pallet type kind of situation going on, so we put a pallet in here, and the pallet's connected, so everything you put on the pallet is stored away. It just feels like it's a little bit too big if you put in a pallet that high. And having just boxes on the floor like these wouldn't be too bad. Little piles of boxes, little stacks of things around the warehouse. So I think I need to do the underfloor, get rid of all this netherrack, and do all of the underfloor as oak trims. That's my next thing. But the oak trim isn't an expensive thing. Let's have a look at the oak trim. It's not very expensive at all. It's sticks and bits. Sticks and planks. And we've got plenty of all that. So I'll just make a few stacks and sort that out. Okay, how's that done? Floors are all in, everything's sorted. Below every single block of factory block, there is an oak trim so that things can be connected very quickly to the system. Speaking of things getting connected very quickly to the system, I've built a pillar on here so that we can have some kind of bits and pieces going on inside the pillar. It's probably going to get a little bit more fancy. Probably do some of Pixel Riff's work on it there. Maybe get Pixel Riffs to do some work on it to make another pillar in keeping with the pillar outside. Or maybe just do a little bit of chisel and bits just to sort it all out. But this one, the first things first is that there is an ender chest that is white, public access. And it can be set up so that everybody can just put it wherever they... Oh, man. Okay, building. Everyone can just put it wherever they want, except for me, who I can't even place this particular thing. Oh, I've got to get a few more levels. Okay, well, yeah, there's that going to be there. That's going to be there, and that will feed anything that people dump into the white chest into the system. That's the plan. And there will be more than one ender chest around, no doubt, pumping things in and out, depending on where you're from, into the warehouse here, out of the way. So next up, we've got to start transferring some of this stuff around and over to other places. Now, there is a way to move these drawers. I believe I've got something somewhere. Where did I put it? Yeah, packing tape. There we go. So you take a bit of packing tape and you wander over and you pick up, or you put it on the drawer, pack the drawer, and then when you pick up the drawer, you pick up the drawer and all its contents. So if we then come over here, and let's say at the far end of the warehouse we want to store, maybe not so that far end, maybe at this far end here, we want to store some dirt, so we'll place that down there. It unpacks it and all the contents are there again. Yeah, that's easy enough to sort out. So I'm going to start transferring all this across. I'm going to start with all the block types, like these block types, and move them across. And then have, just generally a way of organising and sorting all this out to make it look absolutely marvellous. The wall of things, the wall of items has been moved into there. Apart from a few little things, these are my little bits that I've been using to do stuff as I was going. I've moved all of them. I've included all of the mob drops that were from the mob farm that System Collapse wanted me to move up here. And I've basically just dumped them for now. It's just a dumping ground. That is a warehouse for me. It's a dumping ground. There's some kind of order to it, but an order that will change and adjust and be moved around as much as is necessary over the course of the coming weeks with the rest of the Cobblenauts. It is basically set up though. And then this thing in the centre is almost identical to what it was before. It's just got one of these blocks, trims underneath the drawer there. Hopefully it all still works properly. I know System Collapse is going to have a look at it a bit later on. But I have transferred it all across and it does seem to connect to all the drawers. So there's everything that's in all the drawers in here. And it connects to all of the terminals, including the security maintenance terminal, which I should remove from the list. All of the other terminals and all that kind of stuff, and it's still possible to produce things quite easily from there. A little bit of tidying up to do here to make it more presentable. Having the dump chest available for everybody. a little bit of tidying up and messing around to do in here as well to change things up. This compact machine might be able to move over to this sort of section over here and be able to output directly into the sort of the section, the materials section, the blocks section, the mob drops section, and miscellaneous maybe, and then some kind of, I don't know, trees and production and stuff and things. I haven't decided this corner yet, but it will all get used up. There's a lot of machines that are around that could potentially get a little bit of simple automation and stuck in the warehouse with some simple automation to work through and keep us stocked up regularly with things. A lot of bits and pieces that we've got lurking around. Maybe even just put this sieving system into the corner of the warehouse so that things can get sieved in here, something like that. But regardless of that, that is me done for today's episode, folks. Thank you all very, very much for watching today's episode of the Cobblenauts. I have been Nemsun, this has been my warehouse, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.